Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Atha Trayodashodhyayah. This is the 13th chapter in Bhagavad Gita, the 13th discourse of Bhagavan Krishna. The name of this chapter is Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga Nama Trayodashodhyaya. So in this chapter, Bhagavan Krishna, he very clearly tells about the Kshetra and the Kshetrajna. Kshetra is the body, that is anatma, matter, and Kshetrajna is the conscious principle, atma. One that knows the kshetra is the kshetrajna. About all that, Bhagavan Krishna, he very clearly explains in this chapter to Sri Arjuna. The Upanishads say that you are a conscious being, you are Satchidananda Swarupa, you are that embodiment of happiness, all that the Upanishads and other Shastras say. But in our daily life, we experience only misery and pain and all that, insult, hurt, everything, and sometimes joy. So, does the Upanishad say something wrong? No. It differs with the identification. Upanishads tell me as I am that Brahman. It addresses me as Brahman, but we identify with our body and mind. We identify others also with their body and mind. We don't identify them with their inside, that Antaratma. We don't identify them as Brahman. We identify them with their name or with their manas or with the body or with their position like that. So the difference is that. So it all depends on the identification. Bhagavan Krishna in this chapter, he very clearly explains about the kshetra, the body and mind complex, and the kshetrajna, the knower of the body. With this, we will be able to, with this will definitely help us to identify with our conscious being, that is with our antaratma. It will help us to realize that I am Brahman. In this chapter, there are 33 shlokas. In some editions, the first shloka, that is the words of Arjuna, is omitted or edited in that some books. But in some books, it is there. If this shloka is included, then Bhagavad Gita will have 701 shlokas. So they edited this shlokas. It's only a question of Sri Arjuna. But in some books, this is edited, then the number of shlokas of Bhagavad Gita will be 700. So it's a minor difference. And this is the question of Sri Arjuna. So with the blessings of Bhagavan Krishna, I will begin this, try to explain the meaning of this chapter. Shri Arjuna Uvacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetrajnameva Cha Yedad Veditumikchami Jnanam Nyeyam Cha Keshava. This is also a question by Sri Arjuna to Bhagavan Krishna. He asked Bhagavan Krishna, Keshava, tell me about Prakriti, that is matter, Purusha, that spirit or soul, and tell me also about Kshetram, that is the body, Kshetrajna, the knower of the body. Here the direct meaning of Kshetra is a field, and Kshetrajna is the knower of the field. All that, and tell me about Jnanam, what is knowledge, and Nyayam, what is to be known. So all this please explain me, Keshava, as Sri Arjuna requests to Bhagavan Krishna, and for that Bhagavan Krishna says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idang Sharirang Kaunteya Kshetramityabhidhiyate Yedadhyo Vetti Tam Prahuhu Kshetrajna Yidi Tadvitaha. Bhagavan is telling this Kshetram Kaunteya, This is the body. This body is the kshetra. Kshetram is the body, and he who knows the body is the kshetrajna. Here, what body denotes is the three bodies, that is the gross body, the physical body, the subtle body, and the causal body. Karana Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, and Sthula Sharira. It indicates the three combination. And because body means everything is matter. Even the mind is matter, buddhi is matter. Only because of the reflection of Atma falls on all these are active. So that is the difference between Kshetra means the body, Kshetrajna means the one who knows the body, knower of the body. In the next shloka, Bhagavan clearly says, क्षेत्रज्ञञ्चापि मां विद्धि सर्वक्षेत्रेषु भारत क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोर्ज्ञानं यत्तत् ज्ञानं मतं मम. Bhagavan Krishna is telling, Kshetram, the knower of the field, know that Arjuna, I am that knower of the field. Not only one field, Sarva Kshetreshu, the knower of all the fields, that is the knower of all the bodies, all the form. Know that it is me, Bharata, he is telling. Kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam, the knowledge of the kshetra and the kshetrajna, that it is yat tat jnanam matam mama. That is the knowledge. What is knowledge is knowledge of the kshetra and knowledge of the kshetrajna. That is said as knowledge. And I am the knower of not only one or two fields, all the fields, Sarvakshetrechu, all the bodies. That is, field means here it refers to body. That is the three bodies. I am the knower of all the forms, all the bodies, Bhagavan Krishna says. तत्क्षेत्रय्यच्च यादृच्च यद्विकारी यतश्च यत् स च यो यत्प्रभावश्च तत्समासेन मे शृणु. Now Bhagavan Krishna is telling, I will tell about the Tat Kshetram, that field. I will tell about that. Yadrik, and what it is like. Yad Vikari, what all modification it brings, or how it all transforms, that transformation, its properties, everything about the field, and yet Prabhava, its power, and what are all its, how it evolved, all that I will take, but Samasena, very briefly only I can take, because just imagine they are in the middle of the battlefield and the opposite army is just observing them. What are they both doing in the middle of the battlefield? He is requesting, and Bhagavan Krishna is telling, what is it? The Kauravas may be wondering, isn't it? So Bhagavan said, Samasena, very clear, this is not the place to teach. But since he asked, I have to say. So Samasena, very briefly, I would like to say all that. Bhagavan Krishna said, ऋषिभिर्बहुधा गीतं छन्दोभिर्विविधैः पृथक् ब्रह्मसूत्रपदैश्चैव हेतुमद्भिर्विनिश्चितैः. The rishis, the great rishis, in many ways, Geetam have sung about this. There is about that the evolution and the power of the body and Atma and Anatma, all this. Chandobhi, that is chant. Chandas means the hymns, the chants in the Vedic mantras, that also is there. There are Prithak, very clearly they have explained it. And Brahma Sutra Padaihi. Brahma Sutra is the Vedanta Sutras, that is the great work of Veda Vyasa. And Brahma Sutra very clearly explains the paradoxical statements in the Upanishads. Because when we read some statements or sentences, it is not clear, it will be confusing. Not only clear, it will be confusing. So all that confusion is cleared in Brahma Sutra Padas, great work of Bhagavan Veda Vyasa. Apart from editing the Vedas, this is a great work of Veda Vyasa. And all that he explained this, all these words, full of reasoning and decisiveness, it explains this. They have explained about Bhagavan, Atma. that is Atma, Brahman. They have explained about all that. In many ways they have sung, many ways they have written it. Brahma Sutra, all this explain Atma only, Brahman only. So in many ways they have explained it. महाभूतान्यहङ्कारः बुद्धिरव्यक्तमेव च इन्द्रियाणि दशैकञ्च पञ्चचेन्द्रियगोचराः. Now in this shloka, Bhagavan Krishna tells very briefly about the creation. The power of Brahman is said as Maya. And from Maya evolved mula-prakriti. From the mula-prakriti evolved Mahat Tattva. It can also be said as Hiranyagarbha or Hiranyandha, or in Puranic terms it is said as Lord Brahma. So anyway, this Mahat Tattva is completely the seed form of all the ideas of this creation. All the ideas of this creation from minute details is there in Hiranyagarbha. From that evolved Ahankara. Because to manifest all this, to materialize these ideas, there must be some individuality. There must be some cosmic individuality. So that Ahankara emerged. From the Ahankara emerged the three gunas. That is, the three gunas became distinct: Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. From Sattva emerged the Antakarana, that is Manas, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara. This combination emerged from Sattva Guna. From Rajoguna emerged the Indriyas, the Jnanendriyas and the Karmendriyas, and the Tamoguna emerged the Tanmatras and the five basic elements. Later, the five basic elements, they combined together, they underwent Panchikarana, a process, and it became the different forms. Now, the Jnanendriyas and the Karmendriyas are, the Jnanendriyas, there are five Jnanendriyas, that is the organs of it, that is the ears, the eyes, nose, tongue, and the twak, that is the skin. And with these Jnanendriyas, the external world, the information of the external world goes to the mind through the sense of hearing, seeing, taste, touch, feeling, and smell, gandha. Through all these five subtle senses, using the jnanendriyas, the external world goes to the mind. And the karmendriyas are our two hands, two padas, 2 feet, then mouth to consume food, then the genital organs and the excretory organs. So with these five karmendriyas, we perform action and exhaust our karmas. So all these emerged from Rajoguna, and from Tamoguna emerged the five subtle elements, and later it became gross elements. And that is the five elements are the space, air, water, the Agni, and matter, that is Prithvi. So this is all explained well in the Sankhya philosophy, Kapilopadesha of Srimad Bhagavata Purana. Even the Vedantas refer Sankhya philosophy to understand all these concepts very clearly. Whatever way yoga may follow, all this is very clearly explained only in Sankhya philosophy. So all these emerged, Bhagavan is telling, and that also he is telling in a very sankshipta way, in a very samasena, very briefly he explains it. And manas also, that is also formed from it. Bhagavan said that. Maya is mind. The most important part of Maya is mind. Because of Maya only we have Vidya as well as Avidya. Bondage also is because of Maya, and liberation is also because of Maya. So Maya plays a very important role. And now in the next shloka, Bhagavan tells about the function of this kshetra. Why is the kshetra there, and why is this creation is there? For only to experience and come out of that experience, that's all. So in the next shloka, the functions of the kshetra are Icha dvesha sukham dukkham sangat chetana dhritihi Yeda kshetram samasena savikara mudahridam. What is the function of this kshetra? To create icha, desire, dvesha, hatred, sukham, pleasure, dukkham, pain, sangat, that is this aggregate of this body, chetana. Chetana means intelligence or that intelligence, it means. But what intelligence Bhagavan refers here is the Chittabhasa in the Vedantic terms. Chittabhasa is the reflection of the Atma, that is called Chittabhasa. This intelligence, that is the reflection of the Atma, means definitely it must be intelligent. It falls on the mind, buddhi, and body complex. Only then the mind, buddhi, and body will be active. So this combination is said as the jiva. When this jiva, that is the essence of the all the karmic impressions or the essence of the mind, along with this chittabhasa, when it is there, that is the jiva. This illumines this gross body, and only because of that, this gross body is intelligent. Intelligent in the sense it is active. Only because the intelligence falling on the mind has intelligence, sharpness, or otherwise it will be dull. Buddhi, the same thing. We are able to understand, determine something means big one and only because this intelligence is falling on it. The intelligence is powering it. That's why we say that we exist in Bhagavan. We cannot exist as an entity without the power of Bhagavan. So that intelligence is said here. And Dhrudhi, fortitude, that is the determination, firmness, steady mindedness, for all that the kshetra is used. Yeda kshetram samasen, that is what is said in brief. Savikhara mudahridam, all this has been described very briefly, Bhagavan Krishna says. So all these, the desire, hatred, love, pain, pleasure, everything are the modifications of the mind. Happiness means modification of the sattva guna. A worry means modification of the tama guna. Angry means modification of the raja guna. So we are all made of these three gunas because these three gunas constitute the entire creation. Their proportion may be different from person, differs from person to person. The Atma is one, and the kshetras, they are many. So different combination, and in each one, in each kshetra, this intelligence shines that individuality plus the individuality of the mind, individuality of the karmas, everything that this reflection will, that is this intelligence will shine. And so it becomes a one kshetra and another kshetra. Here the mind is different, the karmas are different, and all this, the reflection of Bhagavan shines in. If the kshetras and mind are equal, then my worry will be your worry. My headache will be your headache. Your happiness may be my happiness too. So it's not like that, isn't it? We all have, even in, between the mother and the daughter, that the difference is there. She may have a different life, I may have a different life. So just like that, the kshetras are different, but Brahman is one. And this intelligence shines all these kshetras individually. So that is very clearly explained by Bhagavan, even though it is brief. And this is shloka 6. In the next shloka, Bhagavan tells about some qualities to that leads one to wisdom. All these qualities Bhagavan has said. Let us see what the qualities are. अमानित्वं मदम्भित्वम् अहिंसा शान्तिरार्जवम् आचार्योपासनं चौचं स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः. These are some of the qualities, great qualities. Amanitvam. Amanitvam means humility. What is humility? Not recognizing or identifying with what we have. We may be rich or we may be poor. Basically, it is said with the positive qualities. We may be rich, we may be intelligent, we may have many connections with outside world, maybe a celebrity, whatever it may be. When we identify with that, then we are distancing ourselves from identifying with the self Atma. We can do only one thing. Either we can identify with the external or identify with the internal. When we identify with all these qualities, external qualities, then we are distancing ourselves from identifying ourselves with Atma, that is the self. And these external qualities are temporary, is it not? No one can have wealth all the time, good friendship and relationships all the time, cannot be a celebrity all the time, cannot be an educated person, even that. Another person will take, if we are a doctorate, another person will have two doctorates, then we will ourselves belittle ourselves. So everything is temporary, subject to change by time. So when we identify with these external qualities, then we are distancing ourselves from our Atma. That's why humility means identification with what we have. I may identify myself as I have this, I have that, but that is temporary and I am distancing myself by identifying with Atma. So humility is the basic quality needed for understanding Atma Tattva. Adhambitvam. Adhambitvam means pretending like something I have. I may not have I may not have a car or a house, but I pretend I have a house or a car just for social security or for my emotional security. When we mix in a crowd to identify ourselves, we pretend something else. If we are in a crowd, we expect respect, we expect praise from all. So we pretend to be someone else. So one should not be adhambitvam. Dhambitvam is pretending, adhambitvam means unpretentiousness. Then ahimsa, non-injury. Himsa means injury. Ahimsa means non-injury by thought, word, or deeds. Many people will not injure others by action because they may not feel it comfortable or they are maybe afraid of the law. But by words is so common, hurting them by words, insulting them by words, telling them by two meaning and insulting them. It may be a positive word, but it will have deep negative meaning. So this, to my idea, hurting others in any way is an uncivilized mind. It must be immediately stopped or at least be reduced to some extent. So ahimsa by words, ahimsa by thought. When we think negative about a person, then definitely one day or other we will insult them by words, and gradually, when we constantly insult them by words, it will lead to physical action. So, ahimsa is the basic quality need. By all this, what we are doing, we are distancing ourselves from our Atma, from Brahman. If we identify ourselves as Brahman, then we will naturally identify others also as Brahman. Then we will not see their external qualities. It may be negative or positive, we will not care about it. But when we identify with our bodies, then immediately the comparison will come. Sometimes it will lead to greediness, sometimes to jealousiness. Anyway, it's not going to do any good for anyone. So, non-injury, shanti. Shanti means forgiveness. We have to forgive for our sake. Even when someone has insulted us by our physically or by words, then we have to forgive them, or otherwise that will disturb our mind tremendously and it will disturb us in meditation and even in small spiritual practices also. It will disturb us. So, Shanti, forgiveness is a basic quality one must practice. It is for ourselves we are forgiving, not for others. When we identify, when we give so much respect for our body or mind or our buddhi, that is for our status or for our thoughts or for our physical appearance or for what we have, the wealth or whatever it is, or for education, whatever it is, or everything materialistic. When we give so much importance for it, We have all that, okay, but when we give so much importance for it, when someone say a little word about it, maybe they may say it without understanding its meaning. If they say anything, then immediately we feel that we are insulted. We feel very bad and we will never forgive them. And unforgiveness will lead to himsa. Himsa only to the next step is himsa. So forgiveness is very important. Acharya Upasana. Acharya Upasana means a service to the Guru. Service to the Guru means not only serving them by doing some work for them. We can do a lot of service, at least give some emotional support to our Guru when they need, not always, when they need, or we can help them in any way. Acharya Upasana or Acharya worship is given great importance in Vedanta because only by that we get humility. When we do service to someone, then automatically our ego will be dissolved because ego is the root cause for all this. So it will be dissolved. And the next thing is, it is for gratitude. They have given us so much, so we have to pay them something. And the next point is, we must not receive anything free of service. Either you must pay them by doing service or pay them by money. That's what is expecting in all the educational institutions today. But they are running a business, but you have to pay and get the education, get knowledge. That is one way of service to the teachers only. And the next way is we can give knowledge and receive knowledge. Maybe I can teach you Sanskrit, but you have to teach me English, like this. Some arrangement here, and for humility and for gratitude towards the teacher. What else can we give to the teacher if they don't need money? So, Acharya Upasana, that is very important. Shaucham. Shaucham is purity. Purity means two ways, external and internal purity. External purity is rather bit easy because we have to keep clean our external body, but the internal purity, mind, when we have devotion towards Bhagavan or when we practice Atma Vidya, then automatically our mind will be purified and we automatically all these habits like humility, unpretentiousness, everything comes automatically. So that is purity. And steadfastness, one must be determined. One day you have to select one place, other day another guru, one day one way of yoga, other day other way of yoga. Steadfastness for Atma Vidya, that is very important. And self control. Without self control, controlling our senses, we cannot achieve anything. So, that is also very important. So, these are all some of the basic values needed to attain liberation or to needed for wisdom, for knowledge. Only then the knowledge can go inside us. And another, this arjavam means shanti arjavam. Arjavam means straightforwardness, uprightness. What we think we have to speak and what we speak we have to do. And it is not necessary that what all we think we have to say and we have to do. We have to clearly determine what we can do and think according to it. So before telling, one has to think a lot, but that must be straightforwardness. Thinking about one thing, deciding one thing, and just to pretend like that and doing another thing. That's a very common way of behavior in today's world. That is telling one thing and doing just the opposite. But that is archavam, straightforwardness, uprightness. When we have all these qualities, just think how brave, how emotionally strong we will be. Many people do not realize that all these negative habits or negative values let them down. They themselves let them down. We always give someone word and do just the opposite. Then it will bring a lot of weakness in us. Many people do not realize it. They very free, of course, they tell lies, but they do not realize that all that telling one thing and doing another thing that degrades their mind. If it is done unconsciously, okay, if they do not have the capacity to do it, they may have promised something and they may not be able to do it, at least then it's okay. But purposefully telling one thing and doing another thing, that will degrade our mind in the long run. So all these qualities are absolutely needed for Brahma Vidya, because Brahma Vidya needs a very strong emotional capacity and very strong mind. And some more qualities Bhagavan Krishna says. Indriyarteshu vairagyam anahankarameva cha janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanudarshanam. And Bhagavan Krishna is telling, Indriyarteshu vairagyam, by dispassion in the sense objects. The dispassion means non-different. Many people, they interpret vairagya as hatred. I do not want this. They just hate it. That is a negative quality and it is equally powerful like icha, desire. Icha and that is dvesha are equally powerful. So we must not hate anything, whether it is object or people or anything. We must not hate. We must be indifferent to it. If I get it, okay. If I do not get it, it doesn't matter to me. I am Atma, just like that. So that is Vairagya. It's a very subtle point here. You should not hate anything or anyone, but non-different to it, that is indifferent to it. That is Vairagyam. Anahankara, absence of egoism. When there is egoism, then we separate ourselves, we ourselves by our thought from Bhagavan, that is from a self or a Brahman. So what this ego means, it is only a thought. So we must avoid it. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha dosha anudarshanam. One should see the dosha in Janma. Dosha in Janma means we have to suffer a lot in the womb. After being born, also, can anyone guarantee they have always been happy all the time, except the jnanis? When someone asks us to what all difficulties you experienced in this life, then we will go on long and long. But not identifying with all those is a great quality. So one must see the dosha in Janma, in birth, Mrityu. No need to say. No one prefers to die, so that it is seen only as a dosha. Then Jara means old age. No, I need to say, we keep on earning all the time only to keep safe our old age. We never see the dosha in it. We see the dosha, but for that dosha, instead of dispassion or indifference, we protect that age by earning, by mingling with the people, so and all that. So the dosha in it should be seen. Jara, vyadi. Jara means in old age means vyadi is automatically. Seeing the dosha in all this will give us an idea or help us to connect with Bhagavan, who is Antaratma. असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः पुत्रद्धारगृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु. Non-attachment, asaktvam, towards what, or non-identification of the self, without identifying with the self, identification with the putra, son or children, dhara, spouse, grihadishu means like griha. I have two cars, I have two houses, I have a house in a city and one in a village. This itself, we think that it will give us all confidence. Then about the children, my son is there, my daughter is there, she will take care of me every month, she will send me money. But all this cannot help us emotionally. Even those people, if we approach them and ask them, they can tell a lot about their misfortune. So, Dhara, the same thing with the spouse, thinking so much great about it, identifying. That is, if my son tells something to me, or if my spouse tells something, a word to me, then I am shattered. If we identify so much with all that external relationship, then definitely we will shatter one day, because either they will leave us or we will move away from them. So this is going to happen. That's what Bhagavan is warning. Too much identification with all this will not help us to identify with Atma, and it will definitely lead to dukkha. So non-attachment, non-identification of the self in son, wife, home, and the rest. When we get whatever we get, sometimes it will be desirous, sometimes we may not desire it. Keeping the even mindedness in all that, it's very difficult, isn't it? When we taste a food, and if it is not up to our taste, I cannot say that it is not taste. It may be tasteful for other one. If it is not up to our taste, then we will break the house. How many people have experienced it? So much attached to our senses. So, ishta or anishta, whatever we get, this is a very simple, silly thing. Like this, many things, even in the great things like many things, when we get something ishta or anishta that is not desirable, one must have the evenness of mind. We all have evenness of mind, but for a very short period. When someone just drops a hat in front of us, that's all, we will blast off. So that is our situation, but one must practice it, what is not available by practice. And the 10th shloka in this chapter. Mahi chananya yogena bhaktiravyabicharini vivikta desha sevitvam aradirjana samsati. And Bhagavan is telling, Ananya Yogena, Mayi Ananya Yogena means the yoga of non separation in me, always attached to me, always thinking about me. Bhakti Ravyabhicharini. Bhakti Avyabhicharini means Vibhacharini means separate. Avyabhicharini means not separate. That is unswearing bhakti, one pointed bhakti, unswearing bhakti. Vivikta desha sevitvam, resorting to a solitary place. When we resort to solitary place, that way bhaktas may go to the banks of a river or stay in at least in the home for some time solitary, then it gives a lot of self-confidence in us, and we will be able to understand our mistakes, we will be able to handle ourselves. So when we mingle in a crowd, it will not be the headache for others to handle us. So solitary living is very important in all stages of life, and it gives lot of importance in the spiritual life also. When we stay alone, we know our positives and negatives. Definitely it will gain self confidence, and many people think that living alone is very bad or it's a negative quality. Living alone is not a negative quality. Lonely life is a negative quality, because lonely life is a negative aspect. When we think about all the negative things, then we feel lonely. But staying alone is positive. Even when we stay in a crowd, even when we stay in a joint family, we can feel lonely. When others do not accept with our ideas, then we feel very lonely in a crowd. Even when the people, when they stay alone, when they are content with themselves, then they won't feel lonely. They may be feel living alone. So there's uh, a great difference, poles apart. Staying alone and lonely life is entirely different. Many people in today's later lifestyle are feeling lonely because of the unorganized way of living. But not the all the people who are staying alone, they are not lonely. It's a positive quality. It definitely, that's also for the spiritual purpose. When we stay alone, it definitely improves us emotionally, physically, and both. So all these are needed. And another thing is arati jana samsati. Arati jana samsati means distaste for being in a society of men, or uh, going to the always functions, always celebration. One should have a distaste for all that, because all this are not going to be there every day. So definitely it is temporary life. And when we encourage or when we go for that, searching for that social life, one may say the social life, too much of social life, then that phase of our life may improve. We may have many connections, we may get help from anyone, but our connection with Atma will go far away. Distance, it will go far away. So one must not encourage that social way of life. It doesn't mean that we have to stay alone, we should not talk to anyone, not to even to the neighbors. It's not like that. But for all that, we must have a distance and we must always have the connection with Atma. So this ends the 10th shloka in chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita. And some more qualities Bhagavan Krishna explains from the next shloka that I will continue in my next video. यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णः यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयोर्भूति ध्रुवानीतिर्मतिर्मम ॐ श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।